Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Average Superstar TV. I'm your host, W.Lepre, and this is the time where I say, please hit that subscribe button and like and comment and hit that alert button. For everybody who has ever loves these countdowns that I come up with, this week, the three of us, have selected sequels that nobody likes but us. So we're going to have a little bit of a fun here of defending these sequels, meanwhile roasting each other of how the hell could you pick that sort of thing. So feel free in the comments to support or dive on the three of us. It's okay. It's all welcome. This is all good and fun. We all ready to jump into our countdown of fun sequels that we're going to defend and get crapped on by the audience?
As ready as we're going to be.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to start off with one of David's selections here. One we all know so well and probably all saw in the theater. Coming in as one of David's picks is Batman Forever. Your pick.
I'm going to kill you, Dave.
I saw this movie in the theater when I was a kid. I saw it twice.
I think I did too. Good.
When I was a kid, this was my favorite Batman movie. Because of Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I thought he was hilarious. So admittedly, there's that like childhood nostalgia to it. And while I'm not going to pretend that, obviously the Tim Burton movies that preceded it are better, I really like the world Joel Schumacher created. I think he gets a bad reputation, but it's the same guy that made Lost Boys, Flatliners, who later go on to do Phone Booth and the 2004 Phantom of the Opera adaptation. He's a good director. And I love that, like, he creates this Gotham that's filled with, like, gothic giant statues. And, like, he started off in production design, and it shows. It's such a cool looking set and the colors. And he truly embraced that this was meant to be a comic book movie, that this was meant to be a heightened reality. And as much as I love the two Tim Burton movies, they're not really Batman movies. They're Tim Burton movies with Batman characters in them. Joel Schumacher tried to make something more vibrant, colorful. I'm not going to defend what came next, but Batman Forever is Batman Forever is a really solid movie that you've got great performance from Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, Two-Face. I also really like Val Kilmer's Batman. I love that this is the one that explores like the duality of it. And now all these years later, even when I was a kid, I thought very hard about that ending line, I'm both Batman and Bruce Wayne because I choose to be. And like that's something that like I've applied to the philosophy of my life of like I'm a content creator and a father and an employee at my day job. And like, I'm all of these roles because I choose to be.
Coolness. All right. So let me jump in here. I know we're all about like, hey, it's going to happen sooner or later. This isn't one that it will be for me. We're all kind of jumping and making fun of each other. But to piggyback off of supporting what David just said, I got to use a sampler here. So you have Terminator, Michael Biehn, Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger. We love the film. It's freaking great. Beautiful. So then we jump into the second film. We got Linda Hamilton, this kid we love, Edward Furlong as John Connor, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then you jump to Terminator 3, and everybody's like, oh. And I didn't think Terminator 3 was actually a bad movie at all, but I think people were like, I want to see Linda Hamilton. I was so attached to that little Furlong kid. Like, who's this kid? I don't know if I want to accept him as John Connor.
Exactly.
So to help support Dave here, I think some of the major pushback here was two things. We just saw Michael Keaton back to back. So
that
now
didn't help.
Val Kilmer's not Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman. And who's this director? Yeah, he's done other movies that we all know, but Tim Burton should have been this. So I think everybody kind of went into a little bit of like not ready for the change. The change. So I understand David's and basically support what he says. Now that being said, this isn't I'm not a big fan of Batman Returns, or I really, when you say the originals, it's the first one. That's just me. I did see Batman Forever at the Mahoney Drive-In a couple years ago. It was a Batman weekend. It was the first two, and then the next night it was 3 and 4. So the last time I saw it was actually at a drive-in. Everybody, how cool is that? But you know, it was fun to revisit it. But also, this was around the time Jim Carrey exploded. It was like Mr. Everything. Mm-hmm. I was one of the first people of like, I'm getting off the Jim Carrey wagon. I'm that guy, guys. It's the same thing with the comic book movies. After a while, it's kind of like, oh, Star Wars, another one of these. But I dug it. And you always hear the stories about what happened. You know, this was not a good movie. Chemistry backstage. There was a lot of fights. And I recently found out that Tommy Lee Jones walked up to Jim Carrey on the set of this at the very beginning and said, I hate you. I hate you. But meaning he didn't like his acting. Like he thought he was the name. What are you even doing here? So,
too over the top. Yeah.
Ross.
I don't know. Their animosity towards each other kind of worked for the characters' chemistry, though. For two villains that are both homicidal.
Yeah.
Just saying. It worked on screen.
Ross,
Dave, have you heard of this unreleased Schumacher cut? It's supposed to be the darker R-rated, whatever version.
I know. I think Kevin Smith screened it at Smodcastle.
Yep, that's correct.
I unfortunately was not able to make it there, but I really wanted to go because I've been wanting to see that cut for years. Yeah. It's like the Snyder cut of the 90s.
Yeah. I heard it's the good cut. Yeah, I mean, I would say the highlights are, you know, all the points you guys. So I believe they offered Burton and Keaton 3, and it fell apart for whatever reason. I used to know the title of what that was called.
It was going to be called Batman Continues.
There you go. See, Dave knows.
Lame title.
That's why Dave's here, but it would have been amazing. But yeah, definitely Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones were the highlights of that one. Again, I think the studio got in the way of that one, in my opinion, because Schumacher, clearly his genius shows in Falling Down with Duvall and
Michael Douglas.
So what I think would have been absolutely crazy if they would have had like that sort of vigilantism that you see in Falling Down in a Batman movie, like, you know, like essentially a Batman falling down. I think that would have really nailed Batman Forever. But I know Lauren wasn't a huge fan of Returns. I'm just a massive Burton Keaton fanboy, so they could do no wrong in my eyes. So I just pretty much live and die by them.
Cool. All right. Well, then we are going to jump on one of my picks. This is a film that has its cult following of a few, and I am one of them, and I got to always bring this to people's attention. Dave, this would definitely be more up your alley. Hellraiser 3. Well, to me, a small way, folks. After part 2, this is my favorite, and I'll tell you why. So, one thing I love about Clive Barker between Nightbreed and Hellraiser, it was the same old, in a small way, formula in horror movies. Like, it's a masked killer. Don't go in this woods. Or this is why this one does this. This is why this one does that. When Nightbreed is such a different world, and then you get the Hellraiser, you're just in awe when you see them all. You're like, oh my God. Like you just stared at the box cover in the movie poster when this came out. Like, look at his head. There's pins there. Look at this guy. Look at the Cinnabite. So it was a cool story in the first one, but I was kind of at the end. I was like, that's it. Like seemed like I got to know the characters a little bit. They have some rules. They get a hold of the box, you're gone. So the second one I liked a lot because you got to learn more of who Pinhead was. Mm-hmm. I just think the second one is the number one of the whole franchise.
I agree.
But when we get to the third one, I kept saying they can't do the same two over. Like, I want to see these Cinnabites do something. I want to see what's underneath there. Like, release the evil. Like, I want to see you on freaking Earth. And then I heard the title, Hell on Earth. I got right into this, fellas. I mean, to me, I don't know. Anybody doesn't go insane when that club scene hits, when he shuts the doors and says, and the whole idea of when she's running down the street at that club scene and the Cinnabites are walking and power walking, just blowing. I was like, this is everything I've been waiting for. This is everything I've been waiting for is finally happening, and the pushback on this film, and I was just like, I'm a brick wall. I went and I defended it. I love the Motorhead Hellraiser song came out, and Ozzy actually did the song too for on No More Tears. It was it was March or Die by Motorhead album had Hellraiser, and No More Tears had, I believe, had Hellraiser. It was funny. Two artists did the song, and then there's a music video. If you guys ever saw the for Hellraiser with Lemmy is playing cards with Pinhead. It's for horror fans. If you never saw,
that's awesome.
I'm from the music video era, so I will stand tall and say I love Hellraiser 3. Dave, jump in.
I agree with most of what you're saying. I get the backlash because there was definitely a downgrade, I think, just in overall quality, because the first two are so far up here that it went down to here. Now the other sequels are like down here.
I didn't see a lot of those. Like,
it's just that initial decline. I see why people didn't like it as much. Now visually, yeah, it's really creative. It gives us like the one with the CDs in his head.
Doc. Yep. Doc got CDs. Yep.
It gives us that, and it's probably the best movie other than the first two.
It's reality. I think everyone, people usually say it's like it's the first two and they're done, or you say it's the first three and it's done. Because I don't remember 4 and 5. Like, it's how bad. Like, I don't remember at all. Ross, do you see this one or no?
Oh, hell yeah. Hellraiser, I think, is my favorite. I know you guys are the big horror guys. Like, I'm a little bit more like horror sci-fi on my end. So I think Hellraiser is probably my favorite horror franchise. Jason and Freddy, they all get kind of overhyped. But like, I feel like Pinhead doesn't get mentioned as much unless you're a true horror head. And I think he's right up there, as one of the best. But yeah, I love the whole universe. I love the Cenobites. I agreed with what Lauren said about it, expanding more of the mythos and the Cenobite lore. And yeah, Hellraiser is one of the best. And I have seen most of those trash sequels that Dave was referring to. And yeah, they go downhill once they hit the Sci-Fi Channel circuit, they go downhill pretty fast. But the originals, as long as Clive, I also have read the Sacred Hearts, the short story that one is based on. So yeah, big Clive Barker fan over here.
Sweet. We're going to pin back to Dave, one of his selections that I stand strongly in the corner with, by the way.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know the comments are going to blow up over this selection, but I stand with Dave. We're going to be like 300 here, okay? Terminator Salvation. Dave, I'm going to back you up so much, but the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Great pick.
When it comes to Terminator, you have an excellent first film, and then you have the fluke that is the sequel being better. Not only is Terminator 2 better than its predecessor, it's one of the best action sci-fi movies in history. There is no denying that. There is no one who would disagree with that. But ever since that second one, every other Terminator sequel tries to replicate that formula of we have the protector being sent back in time to protect somebody, usually John Connor, or in the later sequels, other characters. And then we have the killer being sent back in time to kill that John Connor, whoever, Salvation. And I know you like Terminator 3, and I don't dislike Terminator 3. I love the ending. I love how poignant it is. I don't love nuclear war. Terminator Salvation is the only Terminator sequel after 2 that actually tries to do something different. That says, you know what, let's go full post-apocalypse. Because if you're just going to repeat the formula, why bother doing it? We already have that formula perfected in Terminator 2. Now, is Terminator Salvation a perfect movie? Of course not. It has its issues. Christian Bale is still a little bit in character as Batman when he's playing John Connor. I know it had that infamous behind the scenes thing where he freaked out at the guy with the lights. Though I heard they made up and they're fine now.
That goes on in every movie.
That's what I mean. It just happened to be recorded.
Yeah.
But I will fight anyone who says Anton Yelchin is young Kyle Reese. He was perfect. May
cast.
he rest in peace. He
Yeah.
was such a talented actor that had such a bright future ahead of him. And this is probably my favorite role of his. And that's saying a lot because he had a lot of really good roles. So it gives us that post-apocalypse. And in a weird way, it serves as both a sequel to the previous Terminator movies, but also kind of a prequel to the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll jump
it didn't do well, and they're like, well, go back to the formula, get Arnold back, and and then we get Genesis, and then we get Dark Fate, and they both suck.
Ass.
So, Dave, you've said I don't even have too much to say here because I'd say I stand in your corner and all that.
I rambled a bit.
Dave said everything right, and again, I stuck up for the third one, which almost made my list here as well. But I figured this one was enough. But I kept saying when we got to that third one, I was kind of like, when are we going to finally go ahead? And then we went ahead, and people, when I said the problem with the third one were like, where's Linda Hamilton? Where's Edward Furlong? Now we're Christian Bale, which by the way, everybody, like, Christian Bale's awesome. Like I thought he was a great placement to be like, there is no Arnold, there is no Linda Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
We're going in a totally new direction. I thought he was a beautiful pick for it. I like the whole idea of the young Kyle Reese. I dug that whole story. I watched Terminator Salvation a lot, and I like even kind of The Walking Dead, which piggybacked off it. Like, you know, the little groups that had their side missions with Marcus, and like, there's people coming up trying to rob you because we got to eat. We're the ones that got to eat here. Yeah, I dug all that. I dug Terminator Salvation a lot, and sometimes there's movies that everybody doesn't like that I have to scratch my head why. This is one of them.
Agreed.
And I'll also say, before I pass the puck to Ross, me being a film guy, when I first heard that Christian Bale rant, I heard on Howard Stern show, I laughed. And then as I came an actor and really listened to it, I was like, oh, no. Actually, now I stick up for Christian Bale. He could have handled it a little better, but a method actor cannot be distracted. So the guy kept moving and knocking him out of his performance. So I understand. It's kind of like you're throwing a surprise party and someone's like at the door, like they shouldn't be there, and the person's walking up. It's not going to be a surprise. You're ruining everything. You do a rant. So he's like, yeah. So he was yelling. I think he was yelling at the grip or someone. But yeah, I kind of like, oh, now I understand a little bit. He wasn't
got a point.
It was a heat of the moment thing, and Bale was the first one to be like, yeah, I lost my temper. And like, before that audio leaked to everyone on the internet, the two of them already made up and were fine with each other. Like, that's
you better be on a movie.
That's the industry, you know?
Yep. Hell yeah.
All you, buddy.
I love that movie, man. So like I said about Hellraiser, Terminator is probably my favorite action sci-fi genre. I'm pretty deep into it. Genesis and Dark Fate, two of the worst things I've ever seen, as Dave said. But Salvation is really good. Surprisingly directed by Mick G, a music video director. I love a lot of the concepts, the harvester, those kind of underwater shriekers. Sam Worthington played Marcus. Michael Ironside was the leader of the rebellion.
Yeah,
sci-fi legends. You know what I mean? I thought Mick G did really good. It's so weird when you hear about, like Lauren was saying, like one of these like mediocre movies, which everyone admits is like not great, but it does okay, and they get a second and a third one. I would have liked to have seen that series play out with a series. I mean, I don't know.
That was the plan, but then it didn't do well, and
exactly.
They just went back to the same formula.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. I mean, Arnold, is what it is. You just, like Lauren was saying, you can't just bring Arnold back and bring Linda Hamilton back and think you were going to get T2 Judgment Day. That's just not how it works. And Dark Fate proved that, because it's one of the worst sci-fis I've ever seen. An anime came out recently on Netflix. I don't know if you guys saw that. I believe it's called Year Zero. And it kind of follows like a similar type style to this film. So Salvation. And I thought that was really cool.
I really liked it. It was really good.
Yeah, it was a
Check it
Japanese production, but still the content was really pure Terminator mythos. So yeah, Salvation was awesome. I saw it in the theater. I believe I saw it probably 2 or 3 times. Some crazy cameos in there. Common is in there randomly. The rapper, from John Wick 2, clearly an actor as well. But yeah, it was awesome. If anyone's looking for like some good Terminator and you're trying to like resuscitate yourself from watching Genesis and Dark Fate and you happen to miss Salvation, like Dave was saying, I would go back and run Salvation. That's definitely the best sequel since T2. 3
and it
had stuff, but I just didn't love it.
I owned all the DVDs of the first 4. I've never seen Genesis or Dark Fate. I won't go down with the ship. When they say like someone's on drugs, and the thing is, they say that the rehab people say, don't let them come in your house. Like you gotta let them bottom out. That's
Terminator.
100% right.
And it was also Father Time. Like I get that Arnold came but that's not the Arnold in shape, young. Like there's certain times. It's like watching the last couple Indiana Joneses. Like it's him, but it's not him anymore.
And they had to write in, oh well, he's a T-800 who's tissue aged, and that's why he looks like he's 70 years old.
Yeah. Lauren, that animated channel, How It Should Have Ended. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I'm going to send you the Dark Fate of that, where they just basically do these like funny little skits,
All right.
I'll wrap it up for you.
All right, we're gonna move on to another one of my selections where I think the world's about to attack me, including you guys. All right, bring this on. Yes, there's problems, but I'm gonna explain why I like it. Batman versus Superman. I will stick up for this film. All right, folks. I gotta come out of the gate here and say, this is a Zack Snyder film. It's the first time I'm going to see Batman, Superman, and a Wonder Woman, and a Doomsday. As much as it, okay, but we'll get to that. But overall, when you see the Blu-ray version, the version that should have made the theater, this is a freaking good movie. It's got some problems, yes, starting with some of the plot here. I just didn't, where it went off the rails here and all that. But overall, I like the Snyder universe all the way straight into the Snyder cut. And I understand that this is where the studio started to bump heads with Snyder, like, make sure this is in it, make sure that's in it. And it's like, yo, you're screwing my story up here and everything. But I dug it, and I'm going to come at me in the comments all you freaking want. I don't understand how we go from the Jack Nicholson Joker and you love the Heath Ledger because it's completely different. You love that. But you guys attack Jesse as being Lex Luthor, where you have a campy, God rest his soul, Gene Hackman. It didn't age well. I love it, but it's not good. You got to try and go over here. And I like that he had long hair and went over here and did little rants. He's a young kid. He could grow into the bigger Lex Luthor, the Lex Corp. Like, sure. I don't crap on his performance. I really don't. I like it. The Martha thing was still, I'm going to stand with everybody, the dumbest thing I ever heard. I don't understand. Batman can't hear. He can hear everything. He can hear General Zod in Man of Steel about to knock his mom out or kill her in the farm, but can't hear his mother right over here where he's standing. I'm not defending the problems. I'm just saying this movie was not as bad as everyone made it out to be. And I also got to say, this was a movie like Snow White where the media was attacking it years during production. Like the year they were filming, like production hell, this and that. They don't know what they're doing. I'm like, how do they know? Who's leaking this information? So I think, I don't know, did Marvel freaking pay and buy some ads saying, yo, we need this film to sync? I don't know. But I'm just saying I dug this. And I also say before it ended, pass this over to Dave. This isn't still dumb. Like Superman would have killed Batman in 2 seconds. Like, I'm sorry. A guy who could destroy the planet is not going to lose a fight because he built a suit. Like, kind of Kryptonian proof that a guy with Kryptonian powers, he could punch me, I'll be fine. Like, dumb idea. I just wish that they just teamed up quicker, as all I was about. And Doomsday, come on. But Dave, go for it.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to. I know we've had nearly a decade of the internet just kind of attacking this movie. I'm not really interested in kind of getting into the. We all know it has those issues. We all know that it's. I think this is a movie that I genuinely really, really like certain sequences in this movie. That I'm like, that's an amazing scene. So you have a collection of scenes I really like. I just don't think as a whole it works. It's like you have a recipe and this step was done perfectly, and this was done perfectly, and this was done perfectly, but enough steps weren't done perfectly that the recipe overall doesn't work. But I see what you're saying, that there are gems within it. The Batman warehouse fight scene is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole sequence of like Superman and like the talking pundits on the news and talking about like the implications of this alien on Earth as a superhero. They get Neil deGrasse Tyson to play himself, talking about it. So there's a lot, I think, with certain things tweaked and worked out a little better, it could have been a masterpiece, but I think it's held back. As for Jesse Eisenberg, I wanted him to dial it back just a little bit. It's like you watch The Social Network and you're like, that's our Lex Luthor. This condescending, like, tech bro, that's what they were going for. And I think he dialed it up to 11, should have dialed it to 8.
I think the idea though was there was going to be sequels and he could grow into the
like, and that's true. And it didn't get its justice, no pun intended, to get to do that.
It was kind of like Michael Myers and Rob Zombie. Like, it's just a little kid with long hair. He's going.
But I'll be the first one that Ben Affleck is a great Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Batman killed people. Like
that version who's been doing it for 20 years, who's bitter and weary from it. I buy that from Ben Affleck. And
I gotta say, before I pass the puck to Ross, this is just me, but I like how Snyder's color grading in the graphic novel. When I would see Gale and Ben Affleck and kind of with his face on screen, I feel I'm seeing the characters. When I watch the Marvel universe, I see Avengers. I see
everything's gray. Yeah. Everything's muted and gray.
That Scarlett Johansson. That's what I'm not saying they look bad. I'm just saying I think I see like the Snyder cut. Those aren't actors. That's the characters. The way that dark and grimy. I'm like, that's what I think I see. Avengers. I'm seeing Hollywood actors in costumes. That's just how this brain sees things. I'm just saying. I got to stick up for Zach on that. Ross, all you.
No, I like how you brought that up because I was going to work that into my point. So I love Snyder as a director. Like, I still haven't given up on him. I still think some of his best work is like the Dawn of the Dead remake and 300. 300 probably still my favorite. Watchmen was crazy too. So he's got a lot of good stuff. I didn't watch this movie until the Snyder cut got released because it just, I don't know. I mean, at that point, I was just like what Lauren said, had comic book movie burnout. And again, as Lauren knows, like, I'm an OG, got that bookcase behind me is full of graphic novels. So believe me, I've been way deep in it since back in the day. But I agree. Like with what Dave said, there's definitely fights I liked. There was stuff I liked. I think they just got caught into the hole when Marvel was doing the MCU. DC got stuck into the DCU, and that should have never been DC's path. Like, DC worked best when Todd Phillips did Joker, and it had nothing to do with anything. It was just a completely character, piece, one-off. Granted, in a Justice League movie, you have, teams of heroes, teams of villains. So you're obviously going to have multiple actors. I think Doomsday and Darkseid are still like probably my two favorite DC villains. the way Doomsday was created from Zod's body didn't make any sense to me, although I thought Zod was like a good actor and his character was good.
It was an insult to purists of Superman. Like, that's not the story. That's not the story,
But that was Warner Brothers forcing Snyder to like cram 5 movies worth of material into this one movie.
Basically, what I was saying, my whole rant was like, you gotta kind of give Snyder a pass. I mean, you just do. It's hard when someone's standing behind you and they're the ones paying the bills. Like I said, I want that in there.
Exactly. They were like, we got to catch up to Marvel, and they have like a 5-year head start on us. Do it all in this movie.
It's like Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and in the Snyder cut. Yes, this is the worst of the 3 because the other 2 are just way better films. All right, we're going to move on to one of Ross's picks that I stick up for as well. Ross' selection is Matrix Reloaded. Go for it, pal.
It's one of those things where I can't figure out where like people like the first one and like we were saying about some of those other titles, and then they just like, I don't understand the backlash on this one. It's more CGI heavy, but after the first one does so well, like it's also the Matrix. So when you're watching these high fantasy concept, high concept sci-fi movies, I'm kind of, I guess, expecting some of that stuff in a film like the Matrix. That 22-minute or whatever it is fight scene on the highway with the Morpheus with the samurai sword. Like, honestly, I thought this, maybe not soundtrack wise, but score wise, I thought that the music was even better in this one. I don't know. I thought they did more with fleshing out the concept of, there's like those neutral characters that were like the glitches or whatever, different from the humans or the agents. So they kind of fleshed out more of the Matrix universe of this one. I've seen it probably as many times as I've seen the first one. If not, don't be wrong, I love the first one. It's epic. It's everything that everyone says it is, as introducing the kind of origin concept of Neo and what have you. But I thought Matrix 2 expanded on everything that it needed to expand on. I won't discuss Revolutions because that was just went nowhere. It's complete trash. But as far as like 1 and 2, like I think they both hold up. Like I get the only real criticism I'd have is like, maybe it's slightly dated now, is people saying that it just like relied on like CGI more. But like at the time, it really didn't bother me. I think I saw it maybe a few times in the theater, if I'm not mistaken. So,
all right, let me jump in here and I'm going to pass the puck right to Dave because I don't have too much to say. Let me tell you guys, the Matrix, I arrived to a little late. Maybe I saw the first Matrix right before the second one came out. And everybody kept saying, didn't see the Matrix, didn't see the Matrix, didn't see the Matrix. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I saw the Matrix. It did not overwhelm me at all. It just didn't. I don't know. So I was like, yeah, great. We're done. So when the second one came out, it was on HBO, while I was like, I have nothing else going on. Let me give this a shot. Before I know it, I was into it. And the third one. So attack me all you want in the comments. I like the second and third one better than the first one. Case closed. Go to Dave.
I think, Ross, you kind of said something interesting that you didn't like the third one. A lot of people didn't like the third one. And I think when that happens, because you have the second and third one being shot back to back, where Reloaded is the setup, Revolutions is the payoff. When people don't like the payoff, they retroactively don't like the setup either.
Good point.
And I think that's why Reloaded kind of gets tied into that, at least in public opinion. I also think the entire sequence with the architect lost a lot of people. I think your casual action movie fans are confronted with this like Colonel Sanders looking guy talking like a thesaurus, talking about you are the eventuality of an anomaly and you are inexorably and concurrently and all. They're like, what?
Apropos.
So I think that lost a lot of people. I love the philosophy of it. And while I think Revolutions could have done a better job, I don't think it as a payoff, I don't think it was disappointing in terms of theme and idea, more so in execution. So I never disliked Reloaded, but I also can separate that, like, just because I wasn't crazy about Revolutions does not retroactively make me dislike Reloaded.
Yeah, I never even considered I mean, I get your point of the two remaining sequels after the first one. I think right around that time, you said like when the sequels started getting shot back to back, like you said, I think what you saw is the fatigue in the story. Because whereas like Reloaded had this certain energy for me, I just felt like all the energy had gotten sucked out of Revolutions by that time. Like, yeah, you're watching a Matrix movie and it has the actors in it. I won't speak on that fourth one because I literally didn't watch it. But, you know, I was locked in for Reloaded. I liked it a lot. I thought that, you know, kind of like Lauren was saying, that was almost the peak of the trilogy for me.
Word. All right. Well, with that, let's get into one of David's picks, which, yeah, this is the curveball. All right. David's pick is Rocky 5.
Yes.
And if everybody looked at my wall right now, I actually just took a picture in front of Rocky's house. I visited recently, 1 and 2. Dave, all you, buddy.
So let me be clear by what I mean by this. I am not saying it's my favorite Rocky movie. I'm not even saying it's a great Rocky movie. I'm just saying that it gets a lot of hate, and I don't think it necessarily deserves it.
Okay.
I think the whole point of Rocky was that he's an underdog, he's an everyday guy. But as the sequels went on, he kind of got more fantastical, where he's getting into fighting Mr. T. And then when he single-handedly wins the Cold War in Rocky 4 is when we reach peak levels of like just over-the-top camp. And like, this is no longer that grounded underdog story. 5 grounds Rocky, kind of brings him back to that. I know it's kind of ridiculous, but I like the street fight with Tommy Gunn at the end because it's different. It's like, you know what? We got to keep things fresh. Let's do it as a street fight. Yes, it's painfully early 90s with the soundtrack. Yes, you know, it's not... It's campy in a different way, but I like the way that it makes Rocky human again. And it ends with an absolutely beautiful, poignant montage. The end credits play with like a montage of pictures from all 5 movies at that time, with Elton John singing Measure of a Man, which is, I love that song, and that just sums up everything that is Rocky. It's I know like Rocky Balboa in 2006 kind of did like the legacy sequel thing, and then it went on with the Creed movies. But I feel like Rocky 5 was the one that, like, while the series was still going, just kind of grounded him and brought him back to where, you know, and made him and the audience learn a valuable lesson. It's not about the riches. It's not about the fame. Like, it's about how you've grown as a person.
Gotcha. All right, so let me jump in, being a Rocky fan myself, obviously, you know, live 5 minutes away, but this is by far the worst of all of them. But piggyback off of Dave, yeah, doesn't really make it exactly a bad film. Rocky overall, as they said, hey, it's the underdog guy you like, the street guy, you know. Reality, Rocky's about the love story of Rocky and Adrian. The fight is like a subplot, whoever he's got to fight. But that's the entire movie. That's why when Adrian passes, and you know, we start 6 off, our character passed. He never got with anyone through Creed and all that. Like that little Marie thing, I don't think he got with her. I think it was just kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool. Someone cares about me here. But Rocky overall is also ridiculous. Tons of plot holes. So, Rocky 1 and 2, those training sequences, he's never sparred with anybody. Rocky 4, he sparred with nobody. He just lifted weights.
Chopping wood.
He could beat the Russian. I was like, what the hell is this? But people love those montages. It worked. That's what it comes down to. The only sparring movie he had was with Apollo, and Apollo took him and realized, dude, you suck. You got to try here, and turns him around and all that. So this is where I say my biggest error with this. When you say he loses all the money and he gets grounded, I have to kind of accept that because I'm like, you just somewhat won the Cold War. Like, you can't get a TV show. You can't work for as being a you have to. You got a row home in Kensington. Like, it's that bad. Like, really?
Yeah.
So I was kind of like this, even at a young age. I'm like, this doesn't make sense, like at all. So the whole idea of Tommy Gunn and all that, cool. I did always find between Rocky 3, 4, and 5 is not a much time at all of how much his kid had the growth spurt. So we get that.
Yeah.
But you understand that was his real life son. He always wanted to put him in there. But like, look at the kid in part 4, how young he was. And like, this is a kid that's like 13, 14 years old. Yeah, I just.
And like, they just came back from the flight from Russia.
Yeah, it was off the rails. And I always loved Rocky and Adrian's, like, all their dialogue in every movie. I love that, like, hey, they're back in the dumpsters and all that. But as for the fight at the end, as Dave said, cool. It was a refresh, but it felt off because you want to see Rocky fight in a ring. This is overall.
My ring's outside.
Yeah.
He's a street fighter.
And like, you bring in a Don King clone. I'm like, oh, really?
He was entertaining.
Big time. Big time.
He talked just like him. Like, you're gonna be let's do what he does.
it was as close as they could without Don King suing them.
Yes. Another thing that I could take away with this film is some people know, some people don't know. The original script, Rocky was supposed to die.
Interesting.
He was supposed to beat Tommy Gunn, do his cheers, and then fall down from the damage, go to the hospital, have a conversation with Adrian, and then die. And then the studio last minute said, he's like Batman. No, like, we need him. It's in case we need to bring this franchise back. He doesn't die.
16 years later.
That would have saved us for Rocky Balboa.
That's why, if everybody know, the original director in the first movie was brought back to end the franchise, and he was really mad at the last minute when they said, yo, he's going to live. He was like, what? He's like, I wouldn't even taken this, though. Anyway, Ross.
Studio meddling.
Did you guys know that Lloyd Kaufman from Troma worked on Rocky 1?
Yes, he's the bum at the bar where Rocky walks him into the bar and sets him down to make sure he's okay. And his other job was to watch for the Teamsters because they weren't, like, I don't know, up to date with them. The Teamsters could shut him down. So he was always like perched outside wherever they were filming, watching the Teamsters didn't show up.
That's awesome.
Very Lloyd Kaufman thing to do.
Yes.
Lauren is locked in on his Troma knowledge. I just wrap up everything Dave said. I mean, well, you know, at the time when we all had watched 2, 3, and 4, you know, I don't think any of us thought 5 was the most incredible thing in the world, especially after you watch 1. But 6 makes it look pretty damn good. I'll say that much. I like Tommy Gunn as the villain. I like the Don King clone and the whole, you know, like losing your protege to, you know, the dark side to try to go with the big money sponsors. And then, of course, the street fight. Yeah, it's awesome. My ring's outside. Touch me and I'll sue. So you basically watch Rocky 5 for the street fight. But yeah, I'd agree. I don't think, I mean, I'd say opinions have probably changed on it, Dave, because you show a lot of people Rocky Balboa. And I seen Creed 1 and 2. I didn't even watch 3. So there's
I didn't watch 3. I defend Rocky 6. Sorry. I kind of like the whole it's life without Adrian. This is a broken man.
I didn't hate it. The fight was good. The fight at the end was good, but I thought the fight was better.
To me, it was the most sensible fight because, like, you shouldn't be in there. Oh, he broke his hand. Oh, he broke his hand. He's got a shot here.
You know, they went out of their way to make his fight with Mason Dixon and that look like a legit, like, HBO televised boxing match. So it gets credit for that.
And I like the restaurant thing, like, and like his answer, like, what's good here? Well, it's all edible. Like, I just like because he's got the brain damage still. Like, he's still that
yeah,
you're kind of dumb still and all that. And I don't know. I liked it. I liked the Spider Rico came back and was all in the god and working in the kitchen. I liked 6. So, but
it's been a while since I've seen it.
We're gonna move on. So. There's Friday the 13th is my favorite franchise, but this is also right there as my favorite franchise. I'm sticking up for a few movies here with this. I think this is the best done horror movie series, period, I gotta stick up for Psycho 2, 3, and 4. I gotta jump right out of the gate and say was always fascinated with this story of the Psycho. It's timeless. It changed cinema. It's 1960. Like, oh my gosh, piggybacking off of Ed Gein.
Yep.
Then Tom Holland gets the unfortunate terror of like, you get the right Psycho 2 and follow up a Hitchcock film. And he hits, to me, a home run. I love Psycho 2 out of the gate, but I think Psycho 3 and 4 are so good. I think Norman Bates, I think Anthony Perkins, across the boards in all 4 of these films. I don't know, he's like not his acting, like the way he moved his face and all that, like how he was so good, his performance. I love 3 and 4 so much. I especially love that 4th one where he's in it, but Henry Thomas, you flash back to in the house of you get the backstory. I don't think any of these films were forced. I don't think there's any bad writing between all 4 of them. Every movie franchise, as we talk about here, these are considered bad films overall by the public. There's nothing to me, in my eyes, bad about Psycho, period. Dave?
So I've not seen 3 or 4.
Okay.
But 2 is an underrated gem.
My gosh, yeah.
The original is a classic. It's always going to be a classic. It is a masterpiece of filmmaking. But Norman Bates feels more like a prop than a character in that movie. Like, he's there to be the crazy psycho, and like the movie has to like explain it, spoon feed it to the audience at the end. Psycho 2, I see the study of him, the man, the human, the mind, and like trying to be a different person, trying to be
and
good. It's fascinating to watch.
Yes.
I think, again, Psycho is still the masterpiece that it is. Anthony Perkins gives the better performance in Psycho 2.
You're right. And I think straight through
haven't seen 3 or 4 though.
I think it'll follow right over. One day you'll check it out and let me know. But I think it's so good, and I really like Psycho 2. The guy's cured, and he's looking at rational reasons of what's going on, but he gets driven into that. And I feel bad when he's like breaking down, like crying. You're just like, oh man. I mean, I know what he did, but he put his time in. Like leave him alone, So. Ross, your thoughts on these ones? Did you see these?
I think I saw 2 back in the day. I didn't even know about 3 or 4, so I just added those to my list, but I'll be definitely catching up on them. I did see the remake, which I don't think was great. Of course, I've seen the original, but I'm going to brush up on these for sure.
Yeah, it's no big deal. You guys didn't see. I would tell everybody at home, it's worth checking out. Go right in a row, like 2, 3, and 4. Yeah.
I'll have to, yeah.
They're very well. Like there's nothing goes off the rails. I mean, what's a Psycho film, But all right, we're gonna jump back into one of the last 2s here of us. We all have 2 each. Dave, we're gonna go with one of yours. One I support you for. Prometheus.
Okay, technically, I know it's a prequel.
Yes.
Let's get that out of the way for people in the comments. Technically, Prometheus is a prequel.
Come at us in the comments.
That was my Conan O'Brien nerd impression.
It worked.
So, Prometheus, again, it's trying to give us something new and different. You have Aliens, both masterpieces in their own right. You are never going to top them.
No.
Alien 3 has some stuff I like. Resurrection.
It's a half. They had 2.5 good movies.
Yep.
Resurrection, I don't really talk about. But Prometheus, I love the philosophy of it. Again, I'm really into that. And I love the concept of like there's these engineers and there's even an earlier version of the script that reveals Jesus was an engineer. And the reason why they decided to kill humans was because they sent him to Earth and the humans killed him. I wish it had gone that bold.
Oh, that would have been badass.
It would have been. But 20th Century Fox didn't have the guts to go there, and I wish
that
they
would
did.
have changed everything. That would have been
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
So it introduces these like high concepts that I really like. Also, you just got a great cast. You've got Noomi Rapace, you've got Charlize Theron, you've got Idris Elba, you've got Michael Fassbender
Yep.
as David.
Mhm.
And it frustrated me so much to see here's something new, here's something different that goes for the more philosophical route. But people complained, we want more xenomorphs. So Ridley Scott does Alien Covenant, which is just a subpart Alien sequel.
Terrible.
They were on to something with the philosophy.
Oh, dude, I think I need to go to rehab after Covenant. But
So I will defend.
I will stick up for Prometheus, Covenant.
I will defend Prometheus till the day I die.
At the end of the movie. I was verbally yelling.
Covenant was the first movie I brought Nips into just in case, and I knew which way it was going to go.
I just got to say here, Dave's hitting everything right. I like that we went in a different direction. I also have to say, for people who love Alien, the first one, we want it more than Xenomorph. Well, like, they weren't there yet. Like, this was the story of how the Xenomorph, came to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why at the end you saw it. Oh, it impregnated an engineer. Okay, that's how that happened. That's why it's so strong. That's why it's so big. I had zero problem with it. The only thing I could say, like, I just wish if going forward, I want to see one movie without a droid in it. Can we just not have a droid in it? Like, I don't want to see Bishop as an I love Bishop. That was it. Winona Ryder, cool, but like, it seems like everything's about the damn androids, and I don't want it. Like, can we just get them out of here? So yeah, no, I don't have much more to add with this. I like Prometheus. I knew a lot of people got mad over the religion part. There was people like always attack. I'm like, that's your problem with it? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, she believes in God, really? That's okay.
That's what made it fascinating is the philosophy and the whole, like, is there an intelligent design? But if we make that assumption, is it more disturbing than that?
Yeah.
I love the existential horror of it.
To me, when you say aliens, like I said, they made two and a half good movies. I put Prometheus over the third one. Like, when you say Prometheus is number 3 for me.
Same.
I did a ranking of the whole franchise when Romulus came out, and Prometheus was my third pick, behind Alien and Aliens.
Gotcha. All right, so we have the same. Anything else, Ross? Otherwise, I'm going to jump on.
Just real quick. Yeah, I thought Prometheus was awesome, but it's my understanding that he was building up the trilogy to connect it, and then everything got messed up, and he ran to Covenant. I was really interested in Neil Blomkamp's because he was supposed to do a direct sequel to Aliens. I thought he was the right choice for that. Honestly, Lauren and I have talked about this. I love Scott, one of my favorites of all time. I don't love his most recent work, so it would have been cool to get somebody else in there, but I'll leave it at that.
I think Prometheus is probably his last good movie.
I think his time's up. I think Coppola.
I sat through Gladiator 2 last fall. It was.
Yeah. There's times you guys.
I can't bring myself. I'm a Gladiator 1 fanboy.
Yeah, but guys, it's every football quarterback play. Like sooner or later, your time is up, and there's times you have to step aside.
Tarantino's always talking about this. No one wants him to quit, but
he wants to do one more, right?
Look at every career before mine; it doesn't go forever.
Yeah,
you want go out when you're on the top.
100%.
That's why he said. I mean, he says, "Will he do it?" This is supposed to be his 10th as his last, whatever it's going to be. So
I'll believe it when I see it.
That's true. People get bored. All right, we're going to go with jump into one of Ross's, which I have a lot to say about this era after he speaks. But his pick is Highlander 2.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I'm a massive Highlander fanboy. I know 1 gets all the fan fame, but kind of like Lauren was saying about, the next couple Hellraiser sequels, it's like Highlander 1's an awesome origin, but it spends quite a bit of time on the past, the MacLeod clan, his mentor, Sean Connery's character. So I kind of wanted to see it go into that future, which it does. It definitely has its problems. Not a perfect film, ridden with plot holes, and Is this the one with that horrible New York cover by Queen that Freddie Mercury said was so bad he never wanted it released on wax? Or was that I believe it was.
Kings of the World. I love
Yeah,
that song.
Yeah.
I love that song. Riles me up. Yeah.
So that's the Highlander theme, but he actually did a cover of New York by Frank Sinatra, which Freddie Mercury thought was so bad that he never wanted it released as a solo song. So it's only in the movie. So there's a little fun soundtrack lore there. But it's like Lauren said, it's that era. I just love these cyberpunk, grimy noir, kind of like just hyper violent, ultra violent, doesn't need to go heavy on plot. Again, not perfect, but it's got the fights. It's kind of like what I said about like the Matrix. Like if you like Highlander, I would have expected more people to like the Highlander fan base to like it. But anyway, there's Sci-Fi Channel sequels that are way worse than this. You go ahead, guys.
Cool. Well, it's not going to be a lot out of me before I pass the puck over to Dave. Here's what I got in this one. I did see it. I haven't seen it since maybe a year after it was released when it was on HBO. I just remember watching it. I remember liking it, but I can't tell you too much about it, so I have to step away. Here's what I got to say up front about that era. This, the way all of us walk out the door, you always see somebody on their phone. Like it's just the world we live in now. Someone's on their phone. Movies came out in the 80s. You had your huge marketing for when it hit the theater. And then came your huge marketing when it hit the video stores. Then came your huge marketing when it hit HBO or Showtime or Cinemax. There were only 3 back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I could not go anywhere without not seeing this poster. This poster was in my face. Stickers everywhere. I was just like, this thing was so well marketed. Like, it's honestly in the top 5 movies I couldn't, like, there it is again. Looking over there, it is again. So I'm just remind everybody how much went into marketing, especially back in the day. That's all I have to say. Dave, all you.
I would like to surrender my time. I've never seen any of the Highlander movies.
Dave's off the panel.
Yeah, no, it's on my like blind spot of like movies I need to see. So I will defer everything you guys are saying.
All right. Well, God's got one question. Do you ever hear there could be only one? Tell me
there could only be one.
Yes, I've heard that, and I know that's from Highlander.
Okay.
I know of it.
Okay.
I've just never actually seen any of them.
All right.
Yeah. So just real quick, Lauren. So Michael Ironside, our boy, played Katana. Ramirez is obviously Sean Connery. Looks like John C. McGinley was Blake. He plays like a hilarious corporate character. So pretty stacked. I mean, it's got a few names in it. I mean, I think that's people's big criticism of sci-fi. Like, it doesn't have good actors, but from this era, they did.
All right. Coolness. We're going to move on. I'm down to, you each have one. I have 2. I just got to let you know this one and the next one. The comment section's gonna get ready here. Gonna blow up here. This is not liked at all across the boards, and I didn't understand why. I stand strong when I put this selection up. Ladies and gentlemen, I love the X-Men 3: The Last Stand. Let me hear it.
Yeah. I think it was the best of the 3.
I still think 2 is the best of the 3 if you're going to go with that. But I've been waiting forever when these comic book movies came out to see a lot of mutants fight each other.
Yep.
And it finally happens in the 3rd one, and nobody likes it. Nobody dug it.
Yeah.
I thought the story was fine. I mean, did they rush this Phoenix Saga thing a little bit too quick?
Yeah,
I think they did. Does it have a few holes in it? Yeah, but like guys, I just like this movie. I don't understand. Sometimes, like, you watch a movie and you run home, or you listen to an album and you run out to tell people, and before you open your mouth, everybody's like, there's like 12 people in front of you crapping on it, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to really talk about that band or that movie. Like, I didn't understand what the blowback was on this. Maybe is this the one I think where Bryan Singer wasn't in it? I don't think he was.
That was the big issue, was that they lost Bryan Singer.
And then they had to take Cyclops out early because he was in
Superman Returns.
So he really wasn't available. So you took him. you kill Cyclops like out of the front, so it's like, whoa, this movie's really freaking serious. But I dug that whole fight at the end. I love the whole hold this line thing. Sorry, I like the Iceman versus Pyro. I knew all these characters because I thought the first two were well told. This is something lacking in film these days, but I understood the story. And I dug the whole idea of Magneto pulling a bridge and all that. I dug all of it. I love Ian as Magneto.
Yeah.
Magneto. So bring on the comment section. I'm right here, but I'll start with Dave.
I mean, I actually saw this at midnight when I was in 11th grade, and I went to school the next morning. Got home at like 3 a.m., got up at 6 to go to school the next day because I had to tell everybody I saw the movie. They're all like, "We're seeing it this weekend." I was
midnight showing.
I saw it already. I see what you're saying. Story-wise, I like it. It has like it goes there. The first two movies build up to like there's this war coming, and this shows us like it's happening. It does a lot. My issue with it was always an issue of polishing. I think it just needed to be like the script needed another go around. This scene needed like it. Angel is woefully underutilized in it. There's a whole arc there that we're missing.
Yep.
Polish it better. This is on par with the first two, but the issue was never like the story itself.
Ross.
Yeah, I thought the action was there. It's been years since I saw these, but obviously, like, grew up as Wolverine. One of my favorite characters, Magneto, one of my favorite villains. Our boy Patrick Stewart playing Picard, absolutely killed it. Love how he comes back in Old Man Logan with Hugh. But as for what I remember, they were all really good up until that Apocalypse embarrassment. These were actually doing pretty good in that trilogy.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is the one that introduces Kelsey Grammer as Beast, which might be the best, along with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, might be the best casting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
right up there.
Yeah. I love bringing Beast in. I dug getting their superpowers taken away so Rogue and Bobby, Iceman, they could get down a little bit. It didn't fully work. I like Juggernaut. I was just like, finally, but I just didn't get it. People just hated this movie. I was like, okay. It was so hated to me. I think that's why they had to hit the prequel button and go to First Class. Like, let's start this kind of over, and then we'll merge.
It was hated because they killed off those characters.
Yeah,
I think people weren't ready for that. And again, it was the downgrade from Bryan Singer to Brett Ratner.
Are you talking about like Professor X dying too and all? Like people weren't ready?
Yeah, like Cyclops, Professor X, and then Jean Grey.
But at the end of the credits, because I guess people weren't paying attention to both credits.
I know he comes back, and that's why
you heard his voice. You heard Professor X's voice.
That's why he's there in Days of Future Past. But I think that had Bryan Singer directed it, it probably would have been received better.
So let me jump in and back up the same way I backed you up earlier with the Terminator. Hey, it's Arnold. It's Linda Hamilton. Were people just looking at like, oh, Brian's out. Oh, Brian's out. Like, I don't know. Like going forward. So were people like, oh, it's not in the right hands. I don't even want to go in liking it. Like, I don't know.
I think that was part of it. And part of it was just because he left, we barely got Cyclops in it.
So we also got to say he left. And X-Men 3 got crapped on, but it's a perfect 10 movie compared to what the Superman that he put out.
Yes. Now, in hindsight, both Bryan Singer and Brett Ratner are not well liked now for other reasons.
Yes. I don't know what Brett I know about Singer. What I didn't know about Brett.
Kind of similar stuff. Like,
oh, great.
Yeah,
so we'll put them in the next Camera X movie, and we'll take them out.
From what I hear, Singer was much worse. To be fair, and let the record show, I'm just going by what I've heard.
Yeah, I'm not into that whole Hollywood thing. We'll just say the other thing is too, like, for OG comic heads like Lauren and myself, I mean, these characters did die in the comics. So if you actually read them, I mean, I think that's more of the movie, you know, I guess it's before the MCU. So MCU fan base, like, oh my God, my favorite character's dying. But that, you know, that's a thing that does happen in the comic world.
Yeah,
so,
it's also suffering from like third movie itis. You know,
fatigue,
trilogies are very hard to end.
You're right.
The third installment of any trilogy has the hardest job ever, and almost none of them are perfect.
Except for Army of Darkness. That one is 100%
okay.
And Return of the King.
And Return of the King. Yes, thank you.
Word.
All right. So, guys, we're down to our final selections here.
Let's do it.
Dave's got quite a selection here that I have heavy pushback coming for. All right.
I know. I
Here
know.
we go. Insert drum roll. Dave defends.
What's he gonna do to us?
Halloween Age 2.
The Rob Zombie one.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you do. Floor's yours.
All right.
I'm with it. Let's set Lauren off.
Now, part of this is you have a faction of horror fans that just hate both Rob Zombie movies with a passion. They don't even regard it as being part of the franchise. I'm not here to argue with them because I'm never going to win them over. That being said, a lot of people don't like the sequel because they're like, the first one, we're on board with the backstory, and then the second half is basically your shot-for-shot remake of the original. Halloween 2, okay, the first Rob Zombie Halloween movie is a better Halloween movie, but his Halloween 2 is a better Rob Zombie movie. He just goes for it with the surrealism, with like sequences looking like they're taken out of one of his music videos. He holds nothing back, and the result is one of the most bizarre, insane movies to ever get a theatrical release backed by a major studio. And I love it. I love every second of it. I love the vibes of it. It's a movie that I put on to just like get into that feeling.
You done?
Let's hear it.
Get him, Lauren.
All right.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
All right. On tons of accounts. First off, if Rob Zombie somehow this ever makes your doorstep, it won't. I would like to give you the hugest high five for, you know, the House of a Thousand Corpses and the Devil's Rejects, and I heavily say thank you for Halloween, your very first one. I dug the prequel into, basically the frame for frame shot, as Dave said. Thank you for that. And then I want us to take about 5 feet, step back, and run up and kick you heavily in the balls for this lump of shit. And then when you're down, I want to kick you in the ribs for 3 from Hell. All right?
Okay, that one would be deserved. That one would be deserved.
So Halloween, I go to the theater and I see this second one, and I'm loving it for like 8 minutes, and then I realize it's a dream. that whole sequence at the murders in the hospital, I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever seen. And then he wakes up, and I'm like, oh, you teased me with that one. Let's see. I'm happy at the moment. Let's go forward. I hate this movie. It insults the friend. This was written on his face practically. He didn't want to do this film. He didn't market it. It was like in his contract. You got to finish this second film. Yeah, I don't want to do it. All right, you want a film? Watch this. The fact that you destroyed who Dr. Loomis is, that was like making Master Yoda look bad. The guy you made him look so terrible and unlikable, and F that guy when he died. This wrong. The fact that the Rob Zombie's biggest crystal meth problem he has is he can't let his wife not be in a movie. So he finds a way to bring her back. How does he do it?
Flashbacks.
Oh, I got a great idea.
The White Horse.
I'll just take a page out of Friday the 13th. And we'll just make
awesome.
Michael Myers, who has that empty, we don't know why, come a mama's boy. We already have a mama's boy. His name is Jason Voorhees.
We already knew he wasn't the empty shell in this series, though. And again, yeah, it was kind of a middle finger to, like, you know, them forcing him to do it, but I kind of love that he just went for it. It was bold, it was daring, and nobody does that.
I think it was like, I don't want to watch your house for the weekend. I want to be over here. If you make me stay, you're going to regret it. And you come back after the weekend, and he partied and wrecked your house. That is all I got out of Rob Zombie in this. There's literally just nothing in this film that I found remotely interesting. Oh, yeah, Danielle Harris survived. Like of course, we got to bring her back. And I love Danielle Harris. I mean, come on. But, like, it's just amazing. Like, oh, this copy and paste over here. And I don't even remember. What, does he get stabbed at the end? This is one of those movies when it ended, I was so, like, trauma. I was like, oh, my gosh, that happened that I can barely remember. There was one other movie. What was it? Halloween, oddly enough, 2018 Halloween. That was one that, like, soon as when at the very beginning, when they were allowed to go into an asylum, was their job is to keep him calm. You were allowed to go get evidence from the killing from 40 years earlier, go down to the police station, get his mask. Like, yo, we're podcasting. We have his mask. Yeah, sure. Here's police evidence.
They don't give you police evidence randomly?
Is there any other evidence you'd like?
Once that happened, and then, like, oh, they're all frying on concrete, by the way. They all look so uncomfortable, and they're yelling to him with the mask, but they're not facing him. I was like, I'm out. I blew a microchip. That's what happened in this movie. How did he die? I don't remember. How did he die?
It differs between the theatrical version and the director's cut.
What did I see in the theater that I'm traumatized?
She kills him in the shed and then comes out wearing the mask. The director's cut is better because it ends with her, like, in the asylum herself, and they're playing Love Hurts, and it's all very poignant, and it's about family, and this is
family
not
he killed. He killed.
This is but the point I'm making is this is not a movie I can defend with, like, reason and logic. It's a feeling, it's a vibe, and it's hard to put that into words.
I got only one light compliment besides the Halloween. I like the hospital scene. Sorry, I like Tyler Mane when he's, like, as that role.
Not the Weird Al cameo. Most people forget about that.
That puts it over the edge for me.
Yeah.
I'll play.
Yeah, Rob, go for it.
Lauren's kind of traumatized, so I'll play devil's advocate.
Clearly.
I'm probably more of, like, a Rob Zombie fan than I am, like, horror. I mean, I'm arguably a way bigger John Carpenter fan because I'm, like, a They Live, you know, The Thing fanatic. But of course, I respect Halloween. Of course, you know, Carpenter and Zombie kind of get into that tiff. So who knows what happens there. I'm just going purely off of, like, watching the first Rob Zombie and then watching this. I liked it at the time. I was going to ask if the director's cut changed anything for either of you guys, but sounds like you were good on your just first viewing, Lauren, and didn't want to deep dive any further than that.
But that Free from Hell, I'll never watch again.
Oh no, Free from Hell was
if you
the
want.
worst.
There's a video on Dead Meat where they do, like, an in-depth comparison, the theatrical versus director's cut of this movie, if you want to check that out.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. But yeah, I liked it. But again, I slightly have a pre-Three from Hell Rob Zombie bias, so that would be my admittance.
Sorry, I'm trying to come down here.
I don't think I've ever gotten him so worked up with one of my movie opinions.
It's not you, it's Rob. I'm picturing the kick. That's all I'm thinking about.
Well, I could break the ice. Everyone, please jump on Lauren in the comments for defending Matrix Revolutions, because that one really grinds my gears.
Yeah.
It's an open season.
I was actually, my anger is starting to think, like, wow, The Devil's Rejects was a perfect 10 horror film, and then to rate Three from Hell was a -10. Like, there was literally nothing in there. But
I mean, I could probably find something in there, but it's just like the whole, and I like Richard Brake. Like you heard me say that a million times, Lauren, and like obviously like his Doomhead in 31. So like that's what you think you're gonna get in Free From Hell. Like, oh, Richard Brake's gonna come in and save it, but without Spaulding, the dynamic is gone.
I'll say this: 3 from Hell, the first half when it's a prison break movie, like on its own in a vacuum, I like parts of it. The
Until
second
you
half
realize
is
it's a movie.
the second half is just a lesser version of Devil's Rejects.
For sure.
The fact that there was 60 bullets put into those 3 people and there's no scars, even like I mean, like they said they were shot. Why did you say they got shot 20 times each? Like, really, that exact number? and then the fact that Danny Trejo's getting killed by Otis and he's saying, "What did I do?" I'm like,
yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah.
You captured the biggest like people ever. You forgot?
Yeah, that made no sense to me. Like I love the Unholy 2 in Devil's Rejects, as we were saying, but then like
you know
he
exactly what you did.
He completely forgot the whole raid on the brothel. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was just so unbelievable.
I
like 48 hours. Like
I drove over an hour into New Jersey to find a theater that was playing 3 from Hell when it came out.
Was it in Voorhees?
I think so. Actually, yeah, it was at the AMC. Yeah,
you might have been. So we might have been there together. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon, and after that, they played a documentary making of.
Yeah,
and I gave it
I
about.
Met you yet though?
No, you're right.
I think we were both in the same theater.
You're right.
Awesome.
So we probably were. And Dave, you probably got through it. I didn't. Before we move on, because I can't giving Rob too much attention here. Rob, so in the making of, after about 8 minutes in, Rob's like talking. He's like, "Well, I didn't want to milk the third one. You know, I wanted it just to be this good. I don't want people to look like it was like a cash grab." And me and my friend got up and walked out.
So if you want to kick him for Halloween 2, what are you going to do to him for 3 from Hell?
You heard. He almost
lost the rib. The ribs.
Real quick. So I went to the same showing as you guys, and like my theater like blew the thing. So like for 20 minutes, like we sat there in darkness, the film wasn't working, and they were trying to start it, and it was just playing random frames until they finally restarted it. But it was broken for like 30 minutes. Probably were trying to do me a favor. We can move on.
That was divine intervention.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get down to the final 2 here. So don't worry, Dave. You have both of you have a good jump for my number 1, but we're going to finish Roth as number 1. Topic at hand has been brought up now for the third time. Ross's pick is Batman and Robin. Welcome to the team. The comment section, jump on.
Yes, please get me. I'm still mad at Dave about Batman Forever, so we could have some back and forth there. But
I have some things to say.
He's gonna come back with some great rebuttals. This is gonna be Ali and Frasier here. So okay, Clooney and the bat nipples didn't work. So let me start with what did work. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's paid $20 million for this film, if I'm not mistaken, Lauren. So like this was at a time he's like. There's basically 4 main characters. You could say maybe more than that, 5 or 6 really. But he's paid $20 million to play Victor Fries, you know. So really, I think nowadays where they're doing like these solo villain films and stuff, this probably would have just ended up being a Fries solo with them paying him that amount of money. I would also like to let everybody know some background trivia. Arnold Schwarzenegger pays the studio. Is this Warner Brothers as well? Are they all Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
He pays
DC. Yeah.
He pays the studio $1 million a year to keep his Freeze suit. So, you know, they should definitely just bring him back as a Freeze solo. But anyway, the film, absolutely hilarious, unintentional comedy. The Victor Freeze ice puns, the fight scenes, the Freeze goons, all absolutely hilarious. I watched this on vacation in Mexico when it was on TV last time I saw it. My brother and I were just dying at the dialogue. So, yeah, it's got its problems. They're all well documented. But it definitely, you know, the Arnold performance is just what absolutely was amazing for me. But yeah, Batman and Robin, you know, similar dynamic from Batman Forever. Definitely could have did a lot more. This is kind of where the franchise falls off, clearly. But yeah, I think you got the Coolio cameo in there early on. Yeah, I remember at the time, like coming off of like, okay, we just saw Forever. It obviously got off the Burton track, and then they followed up with this. But you know what I mean? I'll let you guys take from there.
All right. I'll jump in because Dave will have more to say on this one. But I saw this in the secondary theater. Like I didn't see it in the theater. It was like the second run theater. It was $1.50 cinemas, I remember. And I was like, I have some free time. I'm going to go catch up on this Batman. Now, for me, I know we talked about Dave's Batman Forever earlier. I was at the point where like, they're changing it again. Like what? I was like, I just got attached a little bit to this Val Kilmer. This is at the time where like George Clooney was like the pretty boy and everything from ER. Like, I don't want to watch this guy, but I'm going to do it anyway. So to stick up for this film, which by the way, I've only saw it once. It's okay. So there's only so much I could say here. The first two are Burton movies with Michael Keaton. So the third one, Batman Forever, had to be different. You had to try something new. They did. Well, now you're changing the guard again. You got to try something new. They went kind of more campy. And the fact that Robin's there and he actually says holy something at one point. I don't know. I like their dialogue a lot, like about like this is why Batman works alone or something like that. He says something. I don't know. Superman works alone. He makes like I was like, well, I was like, oh my gosh, I like this. I had to say at the moment, now if I would go to rewatch it now, which is probably never going to happen, but maybe I'd think a little bit different. But attack the comments all you want, cool. But I'd have to say, like, for what it was also though at the end of that movie, I was like, they need to shelf this for a while.
And they did.
Yeah, they needed to shelf it. That's really all I got to say. Dave, all you.
Where to begin? Yes, Batman and Robin is entertaining. It is unintentionally hilarious, but only because it is so terrible. So it's hard for me to sit with a straight face and say that anything about it is good. It's like The Room levels of camp and bad. And is The Room entertaining?
Sure is.
Yes, of course it is. Is it in any way, shape, or form a good movie? Of course not. And that's sort of how I feel about Batman and Robin. It's not that it's a new Batman. It's not that it's the changing of the guard. It's the incredibly bad script with endless ice puns and a villain plot that makes no sense. We're going to cover the world in ice and then plants are going to thrive. Like their whole why team up those two?
Yeah, for sure.
They're a whole Bane is turned into a Pokemon.
Yeah,
you don't
Bane
say his name.
Pathetic. Bane is obnoxious. Yeah, I agree.
And it says something that Ross, this is your pick, but you yourself admitted, yeah, it kind of threw off the franchise until Nolan came and saved it with Batman Begins.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a lot of studio decisions too. I mean,
no, I know. So
yeah.
I'm not coming at you because like clearly you know better. I just think you and I have a different idea of what, like, for you, something so bad it's funny can still be good, and for me, it's still bad.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, like, I thought Forever was like, dude, like, Kissed by a Rose by Seal is like all anyone knows of that movie. You know what I mean? Like the music video.
Movie, it had something to say. It was interesting. It was thoughtful. I don't see any of that here.
No, I mean, the Victor Fries is actually like a really interesting character if you can set aside that Arnold Schwarzenegger is playing him in this movie.
That's hard to do.
No, very hard to do. But I do like the story arc. You know, he has the cure for the for like Alfred's disease. Like, I think it got unfocused. Well, first of all, Robin is a carryover, right? It's the same Robin.
Yeah, it's
never really is that
McDonald.
addressed anywhere. The lead actor Batman switches, but they keep Robin the same for whatever reason. But you have Clooney, Schwarzenegger, Chris O'Donnell, Alfred. Is this Batgirl, Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah, this is Alicia Silverstone Batgirl, which, by the way,
terrible decision.
She finds the Batcave and finds a recording of her great uncle saying, "I've taken the liberty of making a suit to your measurements." How the hell did he get those measurements?
What did she want to make? What did she want to McDonald's? Yeah, what if she ate a lot of McDonald's?
Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
Yeah, bro, for sure. And I like your point of teaming up Freeze with Poison Ivy because
it makes no
both of their powers completely neutralize each other. Hilarious.
You could have chosen any other. Batman has a lot of villains. You could have chosen any other villain to pair Freeze up with.
Bane is basically like a top tier supervillain in Dark Knight Rises, and as you said, Bane in this movie is Poison Ivy's bodyguard. He's basically reduced to a henchman role.
And that's just it. When Nolan said, "I'm doing Bane for Dark Knight Rises," he had to do damage control because of Batman and Robin.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. It's all true. Nothing. Dave
said was it ruined. There was allegedly a planned 5th movie that would have had. I think they were considering Nicolas Cage as Scarecrow.
That would have been cool.
Which would have been really cool.
This is the last one, and we're out of here. All right, so my pick. I gotta say, before I pick this one, show the world my pick here. I know no one that agrees with me. I know no one else that likes this movie. Yeah, it just has been announced that there's going to be a 3rd one, and I think it's actually going to happen this time. With a stern spine and my chest popped out, my last selection, I stick up for the
yes.
Yes! Oh my gosh! Fuck. I didn't think you're the first one that's.
I love this movie. Hell yeah, bro.
I do love this movie. All right, so let's just back up here. I'm not knocking the first one, certainly. The first one's amazing. Here was my only beef with the first movie was, there's the villain in this that, this badass prisoner that they bring out to purposely stop these brothers that are just unstoppable. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, this is like 1999. It's your fault by now, but it turns out it's their dad. So there's actually a shootout between the sons and the dad. And then they realize, oh, we're family. Let's stop. Because family is everything. And I dug the Boondock Saints so much that it was made being a Catholic kind of cool. I dug the whole thing about, I'm not even Irish, but I just dug their whole Irish heritage here. But at the end of the movie, it was so rushed of like, that's your dad. I don't know who dad is. That was my only thing. I'm like, I want them to elaborate who is dad. So they made this sequel, and I now have the Blu-ray where it was recolor corrected. It looks just modern as anything else. But I remember renting the DVD, and it looked bad, 39 mil. Like the color was terrible. And I think immediately turned everybody off. But after a few minutes, I got right into the story, and I'm like, this is a freaking amazing sequel. This is true to the first one. Same characters brought over. Even William Dafoe came back, not as big as role. But I got to learn who Dad was. I got to learn Dad's backstory. And I love this freaking flick. And every time I would tell people that, they looked at me like I had 3 freaking heads. They're just like, it sucks. I'm like, explain to me why it sucks. And no one could really explain to me why it sucks. They just say it sucks. It's kind of like when someone's like, I don't like the president. Tell me why. I don't like him. Like, but that's you're not giving me anything to work with here. So Ross, since you're a fan, go for it.
Do you know that we just did Boondock Saints 1 on St. Patty's on PXF? We just reviewed one. So
if you do 2, let me know.
Oh no, we're actually, we got a request from our boy who was on 1 to do 2, so we'll bring both you guys back. So I'm a Sicilian Irishman from Boston, so this hits home for me. I do have the graphic novel in Nometri Patri, which it follows a similar storyline to this, Lauren. Basically, the Il Duce origin, which is what you were referring to. I totally agree. I like the pacing of one, but Il Duce is my favorite character, as you said. That's Connor and Murphy the McManus brothers' father, as Lauren was saying.
Yep.
So he's introduced as this badass, and you kind of are wondering why he has this custom-made vest that holds 6 guns. That's kind of his signature, and it actually gives you that explanation, and it's actually a really good one. I thought it's not like how Furiosa gets her arm in that movie, and they're like, they spend the whole movie of Fury Road on it. When they show her make it the movie, it's like 10 seconds. Like, you want like a little origin of their iconic kind of relic, right? So I love that. I love the whole dynamic with the Roman, played by Peter Fonda, a legend. That final shootout in Maine at the mansion. That's that all goes back to Troy Duffy because he grew up in Maine, the director. So that was kind of like a throwback to him, like kind of shooting like his like hometown area. What's it called? The Prudential scene when they go off the side of the Prudential building. I thought that was iconic. I mean, the Prudential is like the iconic landmark in Boston. So, pacing and story, maybe not as clear and concise as Boondock Saints 1. Also, the FBI agent, I thought she was really good, talented actress.
Julie Benz from Dexter.
Yeah.
Yes. She was
and Saw 5.
And she was just so sexy. Like, she
was really good, easy on the eyes, not as charismatic as Smecker, because Smecker really carries the first film, so to speak. And then there's that little Smecker cameo at the end. Talk of part 3, Lauren, but I don't think Troy will be coming back to direct.
Really? Because I thought I just saw an interview with him at Film Threat. I think it, dude. I'll link it up, but I think it's all full of go. I think it's actually happening this year.
He wrote it, but I think they're bringing in a new director because he has an issue with Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus. So
I didn't know that yet. Oh, really? I didn't know he had a problem.
I'll fill you in on it offline.
All right. Yeah, but I dug how the bad guy who was his partner, I love the whole idea of what Billy Connolly was, what made him snap. That basically cops aren't doing nothing, I'm going to.
Yep.
I dug this. Aces is across the board. So when the Blu-ray came out and it's like the color's right, I was just like, oh gosh, this is great. So I got both of those Blu-rays not too far behind me. So with all that talking, Dave, I don't even know if you saw this, but
haven't seen one even.
Here's the thing. I saw the first one several times. I really liked it. And then when the second one came out, I think I rented it. This is like when it came out.
Yeah.
We're talking like 15 years ago.
I told you the color was terrible out of the gate.
I remember watching it. I remember liking Julie Benz in it. And I remember thinking, oh, that was all right. I liked the first one better, but it was an okay sequel. And I don't remember much else about it because I haven't watched it in 15 years.
Yeah, well.
So I don't have a whole lot to say, but I don't hate it. And I remember watching it, I didn't hate it.
Okay. Well,
that one dude, Lauren, when they go in the panic room, that dude that runs in there, that's Rob Wells from Trailer Park Boys. Have you guys ever seen Trailer Park Boys? Massive Canadian show.
I don't know Trailer Park Boys.
I know of it.
Yeah, he has a little cameo in Boondocks. That's actually how I found out about Trailer Park Boys.
Before I wrap this up, gotta say the cameo dream sequence with Rocco.
Yes.
Where that speech he gives, especially, I say it all the time, real men hide their feelings. I just love that speech because it's kind of everything that the last woke few years about. Like, real man, you don't cry. Real men don't hide. Real men don't pound. Real men look you straight in the eye. I just love that. I just love that whole speech.
I love Rocco. Also, let it be known.
Born on the same day, me and Rocco.
Yes, David Del Rocco is the man. Let it be known that Judd Nelson is an actual New Englander. He is originally from Maine, so his accent was authentic in the film. Not a lot of people know that.
Well, guys, we just did 2 shows here, so they'll be airing, in pieces, but. With that, I tell everybody, thank you for stopping by and checking out the show. Hit that subscribe button. Please come at us, positive or negative, in the comments. Maybe we'll do a follow-up to that. And please stand by for my film directory at the ending credits where you can see all my projects and where to watch and stream. With that, Ross and Dave, I thank you, and please plug your stuff, starting with Dave.
You can check me out here on YouTube at Halloween Year Round or just HalloweenYearRound.com.
Ross.
YouTube.com/Planet X Film. Head over to Planet X Filmworks. I'm on X, and you can find all the links there. Go check out the Patreon. Do a lot of true crime stuff. Check it out.
Sweet. Well, that wraps up the party. I say the party is over. And one last thing, get off the internet.